It's easy to think of Twitter's entire user base as just one gigantic homogeneous blob, but in actuality it's filled with a vast array of smaller cliques. One such clique is VN Twitter, a community where fans of visual novels can gather around and have a gay old time. And on October 20th, 2019, a gay old time was certainly had. Our story has two main characters. The first is a VN Twitter user by the name of Armando. Within his small circle, there were two things he was known for: having this image of Shirou from Fate Stay Night as his profile pic, and saying things that were funny when combined with said PFP. But since all good things have to come to an end, he eventually changed to a different PFP. However, this is where our second main character comes in. Jess was a fellow member of VN Twitter and a mutual of Armando's. So on one fateful day, she wondered when the iconic Shirou PFP would make its grand return. But she then realized that this question has an incredibly simple answer: taking things into our own hands and bringing the PFP back herself. Armando would give Jess a warning about the PFP's power, but she responded by rejecting said warning and tweeting 3 fateful words: "I love swords." With those 3 mere words, Jess unleashed an uncontrollable surge of raw power that affected every Twitter user in a general vicinity. These Twitter users would be so overwhelmed by this power that they were forced to adopt a Shirou PFP of their own and roleplay as Shirou. So on October 20th, 2019, the sheer amount of Shirou PFPs would cause Twitter to descend into pure chaos. The timelines of anyone within even 3 degrees of separation from Jess and Armando developed into an endless sea of Shirou avatars repeatedly reciting the iconic Unlimited Bladeworks chant. These recitements of the chant were so ubiquitous that they even caused some Shirou PFP havers to mistakenly like their own tweets. And anyone who decided to look at the likes of any tweet related to the event would be greeted with countless copies of the same face staring right at them. But this day wasn't all chaos, as some Shirou PFP havers would use their newfound power to participate in intellectual philosophical discussions. In particular, Shirou PFPs were discussing potential answers to the famous trolley problem. However, as I said earlier, all good things have to come to an end. The first Shirou day was no exception, but as the day ended, one participant decided to leave an important parting gift. Said participant was Extreme S Manpig, a small fake Grand Order YouTuber. And their gift was a video titled shirou.avi that synced tweets from the event to a piece of OST from the Fate Stay Night visual novel. On top of being a great help for researching this terminally online YouTube documentary, this video is important because it paved the way for something bigger. According to Wayback Machine, Manpig's shirou.avi video got over 60,000 views within the span of a year. While that might not seem like anything special as far as YouTube viewership is concerned, it's massive in comparison to the small bubble of VN Twitter. So a bunch of Fate fans from outside this bubble were exposed to the idea of Shirou Day. And on October 20th, 2020, the combined efforts of Shirou Day veterans and these newcomers would result in a second Shirou Day. But there was something different about this sequel. To explain what I mean, let's talk about Shirou himself. Full disclosure here, I have not actually read the original Fate Stay Night visual novel, and my only experience with Fate has been for the Ufotable adaptations of Unlimited Bladeworks and Fate Zero. But that's relevant to the central point of discussion involving Shirou. Many fans of the original Fate visual novel feel that the Unlimited Bladeworks adaptation butchered its characterization and left out a lot of important context for it. However, since the population of Fate anime onlys greatly outnumbers the people who actually read the VN, the general sentiment towards Shirou as a character has a more negative skew. So a lot of Fate VN readers feel compelled to spread the word of Shirou's better qualities. And the second Shirou Day was the perfect opportunity to do that. The holiday evolved beyond a silly in-joke among a small Twitter circle and began to feel like Fate fans celebrating Shirou as a character with genuine sincerity, as evidenced by a lot of posts calling him the best protagonist or a similar compliment. But that's not the only thing about Shirou Day that's changed, as the event had reached an even greater scale, to the point where people who didn't even know Fate that well would join in. The second Shirou Day was so large in fact that Shirou's name made it to Twitter's trending section, complete with a description of the event. Not only that, but the official brand account for the Western distributor of Fate Anime joined in on the fun with a suspiciously timed tweet involving Shirou. And finally, Shirou Day had gotten so big that it successfully broke the language barrier, resulting in Japanese fans participating in the event as well. What Shirou Day shows us is how the internet has granted us the ability to join together and accomplish truly important tasks, like changing our Twitter profile pictures and tweeting about how much we like swords. As of right now, there have been 3 Shirou Days, with less than a month until the 4th one. So when October 20th rolls around and you find yourself making the mistake of opening up Twitter, you know what to do.